If you are standing somewhere between the ages of 60 and 75, I need you to stop what you're doing for just a moment. Stop scrolling, turn down the television, and give me your undivided attention, because what we're about to discuss might be the single most important realization you have in this chapter of your life. And I don't want you to miss out on the peace you've spent a lifetime fighting for. You might be feeling a certain pull, a quiet but persistent ache inside you, a sense of something missing. Perhaps it whispers to you in the long afternoons, or shouts at you in the dead of night. It's the feeling that maybe, just maybe, one more person, a new partner, a companion, a lover, is the final piece of the puzzle that will make everything feel whole again. But I'm here to tell you that this very instinct, this deep-seated belief that companionship will be your salvation, could be the most dangerous trap you'll ever face. It feels like a promise of warmth, but it can quickly become the poison you willingly drink, believing it to be the cure for a loneliness you were never taught how to hold. Before you take one more step toward opening your life, your home, and your heart to someone new, you owe it to yourself, to the person you were, the person you are, and the person you are still becoming, to understand the profound and often irreversible cost of that decision. This isn't about fear, it's about profound, unshakable clarity. You are not the same person you were at 25 or even at 45. The landscape of your soul has been weathered and shaped by decades of existence. You have lived through seasons of unimaginable hope, only to watch them fade into winters of profound loss. You have built lives, homes, and families with your bare hands, and you have also stood among the rubble when some of those structures inevitably fell apart. You have raised children who are now adults with their own complex lives. You have likely buried parents, friends, and perhaps even a spouse, learning the brutal language of grief that only time can teach. You have made sacrifices that no one ever saw, compromises that chipped away at your edges, and you have survived moments you were certain would break you. Your spirit is not a blank canvas. It is a rich, complex tapestry woven with threads of joy, resilience, sorrow, and wisdom. Your time is no longer an infinite resource to be spent carelessly. It is your most precious, finite currency. And this is precisely where the danger lies. Loneliness, that ancient and seductive predator, creeps into the quiet spaces of your life. It whispers that a partner will silence the echoes in your empty house, that their presence will make everything better, that you are incomplete on your own. But what if that whisper is a lie? What if the very thing you run toward is the one thing that will shatter the fragile peace you have fought so hard to find? By the time you reach your 60s or 70s, your patterns are not just habits. They are carved into the very bedrock of your being. Your routines, from the way you drink your morning coffee to the hour you turn in for the night, are not random acts. They are carefully constructed rituals that provide comfort, stability, and a sense of control in a world that often feels chaotic. Your values, your ethics, your way of seeing the world, these are not fleeting opinions, but deeply held convictions, refined and tested over a lifetime of experience. To invite another person into this meticulously crafted landscape is not a light or romantic decision. It is not the material of a feel-good romantic comedy where two quirky seniors find love and live happily ever after. In reality, it is often a declaration of war, a war between your hard-won independence and the crushing demands of compromise, a war between the deep, quiet peace you have cultivated and the sudden disorienting chaos that another person's needs, moods, and histories inevitably bring. So many people in this stage of life tragically underestimate just how much of themselves they will be forced to sacrifice to maintain a relationship, and they rarely stop to ask, at what cost? You are no longer in the business of building a future with someone. You are in the sacred business of preserving the peace you have spent the last 6 or 7 decades fighting to achieve. That peace matters more than anything. It is sacred ground. And inviting someone into your life at this stage means you risk surrendering that sacred ground piece by painful piece until you no longer recognize the territory of your own life. Suddenly, your decisions are no longer entirely your own. The small, autonomous choices that once defined your day are now subject to negotiation, debate, or silent disapproval. The space that was once your sanctuary, your private refuge from the world, becomes a shared territory where your things are moved, your silence is interrupted, and your energy is constantly being monitored and responded to. Your finances, which you may have spent years carefully managing to ensure your security and independence, become terrifyingly entangled. One person's debt becomes a shared burden. One person's poor financial habits can jeopardize the stability you worked your entire life to create. And all of this is done in the name of companionship, but in reality, you risk suffocating under a weight you never anticipated. A weight that drains you not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and even physically. The constant low-grade stress of navigating another person's world can manifest in your body as exhaustion, sleeplessness, and a weakened immune system. And it's not always about loud arguments or dramatic conflict. Sometimes, the most corrosive poison is found in the silence of feeling utterly unseen and unheard, even while someone is sitting right next to you on the sofa. The gut-wrenching tension of a compromise that feels less like a mutual agreement and more like a complete erasure of self. You give up your quiet evenings reading in your favorite chair. You give up your specific coffee rituals that start your day with a sense of calm. You give up space on your bookshelf, in your closet, in your mind. You change your habits, your pace, your very rhythm of life, slowly, almost imperceptibly, until one day you wake up and you are no longer sure where you end and the other person begins. And you must ask yourself the hardest question of all. Is this love, or is this just a desperate, terrified flight from the prospect of being alone? There is something profoundly cruel and misleading about the societal myth that your value as a human being is only validated when you are part of a pair. Yet our culture pushes this narrative relentlessly, and it does so with a particular vengeance on older adults. We are bombarded with images and stories that portray solitude as a disease, a failure, a sad and lonely ending that must be avoided at all costs. Togetherness, we are told, is the ultimate cure. But I am here to argue the exact opposite. At this stage of life, solitude, chosen, intentional solitude, is not a punishment. It can be your greatest sanctuary. It is a sacred space for deep reflection, for profound healing, and for a connection with your own soul that is more intimate and fulfilling than any connection you might find with another person. There is a deep and abiding wisdom to be found in stillness, a wisdom that gets drowned out by the noise of another person's life. There is an immense dignity in solitude, in the quiet confidence of knowing you are enough, entirely on your own. Because here is the hard, unvarnished truth. People at this age, yourself included, carry a lifetime of wounds. You carry expectations forged in past heartbreaks. You carry traumas that may lie dormant for years until the right trigger awakens them. You are not entering a new relationship as a blank slate, and neither are they. You are walking into this new chapter carrying an entire library of memories, pains, and defense mechanisms, and so is the other person. It is like trying to merge two ancient, complex, and fiercely independent ecosystems that were never designed to fuse. And when things go wrong, and they so often do, the fallout is catastrophic. The consequences of a failed late-life relationship are not the same as a youthful breakup. You don't just face heartbreak, you face a complete and total upheaval of your life at a time when you are most vulnerable. The risks are immense. There are potential legal battles over property and assets that can drain your life savings and leave you financially destitute. There are devastating health declines, as the chronic stress of a toxic environment can trigger or worsen serious medical conditions. There is the terrifying specter of dependency, where you become reliant on someone who is emotionally unstable or even abusive, feeling trapped because you fear you cannot manage on your own. And then there is the regret, not the fleeting regret of a youthful mistake, but a deep, bone-gnawing regret that settles in for the rest of your days. The kind of regret that replays in your mind in the quiet hours of the night, the kind that eats away at your spirit and leaves you wondering how you could have given away your precious final years to chaos and unhappiness. And what is even more tragic is that so many people stay. They stay even when the relationship is emotionally toxic. They stay even when it is neglectful or abusive. They stay because they have bought into the lie that this is better than nothing, that they have no other options. They stay because they are terrified, terrified of dying alone, terrified of being seen as unwanted, terrified of becoming irrelevant in a world that already seems to be forgetting them. And that fear, that all-consuming fear, is the real poison. It's not the partner, it's not even the loneliness. It is the deeply ingrained, culturally reinforced belief that you are not whole, not worthy, not enough, exactly as you are. If you are 60 or 70 or 75, I urge you, I implore you, to pause and ask yourself the most honest questions of your life. Is this potential relationship or this current relationship truly adding to my peace, or is it methodically stealing it away? Is what I am feeling truly love, or is it a desperate, frantic escape from the quiet stillness of solitude? There is no shame, none whatsoever, in choosing yourself. In fact, at this stage of your life, it may be the single most courageous, radical, and self-loving thing you have ever done. You have earned the right to be whole. You have earned the right to breathe freely in your own home, without walking on eggshells. You have earned the right to walk through the final sacred chapters of your life with dignity, with clarity, and with an unshakable inner strength, not as one half of a whole, but as a complete and magnificent soul. You may be alone perhaps, but you do not have to be lonely. Not if you have finally learned how to sit with your own heart, to listen to its wisdom, and to find a deep and abiding meaning in the beauty of your own presence. You are not broken if you are single at 70. You are not forgotten. You are not unloved. Sometimes the deepest and most profound love you can possibly offer the world is the love that comes from fully, unapologetically, and completely accepting yourself. It comes from embracing the stillness, the quiet, the solitude, and finding in that silence not a terrifying emptiness, but something powerful, resonant, and sacred. So if you are standing at that critical crossroads, weighing the decision of whether to open your life to someone new or to walk the rest of this beautiful, winding path on your own, please choose wisely, because your peace, once it is shattered at this age, is not so easily restored, and your soul, after all it has endured, has earned something far, far better than chaos disguised as companionship. Let that truth settle into your bones. Let it rest quietly in your chest. There's no rush. There's no noise. There is only the gentle, powerful reminder that you are and have always been allowed to be enough exactly as you are. I'm not here to tell you what to do, because only you know the truth of your own life and your own heart. But I do want to create a space for that truth. So, I want to ask you something, and I invite you to share your answer in the comments below. It's a powerful question, and your answer might help someone else who is feeling lost. What is one small, simple routine of solitude that you protect fiercely because it brings you peace? Is it the way you drink your tea in the morning sun? Is it the hour you spend with a book before bed? Is it a walk you take by yourself? Share that one small, sacred act in the comments. By sharing, we remind each other that peace is not found in another person, but in the small, intentional ways we choose to honor ourselves. I'll be reading every single one of your comments. Thank you for listening.